The Senate will come to order. The senators will please take their seats. Those persons not entitled to the privilege of the floor will please retire to the gallery. The senators and all in attendance will stand and be led in prayer by the Reverend Daniel O'Brady, St. Michael the Archangel Catholic Church, Glen Allen, Virginia.
Let us pray. O Lord our God, have pity on us who have too little pity in our hearts. Too often we give, but not in kindness. Too often we give only because the sound of crying disturbs us. O Lord, be patient with us. Give us yet more time to learn what love is and how love should act, and how love can change us as individuals and as a commonwealth. Where we cannot convince, let us be willing to persuade. For small deeds done are better than great deeds planned. We know that we cannot do everything, but help us to do something. We pray in the name of him who loves us all. Amen.
Amen. The clerk will call the roll. All those present will vote aye. Clerk will close the roll.
You have a quorum, Mr. President. Senate Journal for Tuesday, January 30th, 2018.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. The senator from Northern Fairfax, Senator Howe, moves that the reading of the journal be waived. All in favor of the waiving of the reading of the journal will record their vote aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Do any senators desire to change their vote? Clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 36, noes 4.
Ayes 36, noes 4. The reading of the journal is waived. Clerk will report any communications from the House of Delegates. Senator from James City County, Senator Norman.
Good morning, Mr. President.
Good morning.
I respectfully move that we waive the reading of any communications from the House of Delegates, sir.
Thank the senator. The question is, shall the reading of the communication be waived? All in favor of waiving the reading of the communication from the House of Delegates will record their vote aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Do any senators desire to change their vote? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 35, noes 5.
Ayes 35, noes 5. The reading of the communication from the House of Delegates is waived. The clerk will report any communication from the governor.
We do not have any, sir.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Now has come the time in the morning hour where we greet and welcome visitors here with us in the gallery. I'll give my very brief, gentle daily reminder that the way this will proceed is that a senator will stand for purposes of introduction, recognize the individual or group. I will then extend the warm welcome of the Senate, and then we will all clap together for that person or group. So thank you all so much for your cooperation. The senior senator from Richmond City, Senator Sturdivant.
Good afternoon, Mr. President.
Good afternoon, Senator.
I rise for an introduction.
Senator has the floor.
Mr. President, ladies and gentlemen of the Senate, joining us in the Senate gallery today are members of the Autism Society of Central Virginia and the ARC of Virginia. These include Tammy Burns, Megan Colson, Molly Corte, Sam Hulcher, Chuck Hulcher, and Bradford Hulcher. Mr. President, please join me in welcoming them and others who are here as part of Developmental Disability Advocacy Day.
Thank the senator. Would the members of the Autism Society of Central Virginia and the ARC of Virginia in the gallery please rise if you're able? Thank you all so much for joining us here today. We are very grateful for your presence and for your advocacy and the work that you do on such an important issue. I want to echo the words of the senior senator from Richmond City about how grateful we are that you're here and that you continue to work hard on this issue to open up opportunities for all of our families. So we welcome you back anytime here to the Senate and to the Capitol. And I would ask everyone please to join me in extending the warm welcome of the Senate to our members from the Autism Society of Central Virginia and the ARC of Virginia. the junior senator from Richmond City, Senator McClellan.
Thank you, Mr. President. I rise for an introduction.
Senator has the floor.
Thank you, Mr. President. In 1970 in New York City, 24 black women led by the visionary Edna Beach began meeting in their homes to assess the problems and opportunities left behind in the wake of the turbulent 1960s. Out of those meetings was born the Coalition of 100 Black Women. They persistently worked to master root causes of issues that affected their families, their communities, and women in particular, and soon became a visible force of influence promoting gender and racial equality. In 1981, the National Coalition of 100 Black Women Incorporated was born, with a reach today that extends throughout 60 chapters representing 28 states. Today, we are joined by representatives from the Richmond metropolitan area, Tidewater, Charlottesville, and Northern Virginia chapters of the National Coalition of 100 Black Women. They were here this morning for a press conference with the African American women legislators of the General Assembly to reclaim our communities and talk about issues of concern to our communities. So on behalf of the senator from Portsmouth, the senator from Hampton, the senator from Petersburg, and myself, I ask you, Mr. President, to welcome them to the Senate today.
I thank the senator. With the members of the National Coalition of 100 Black Women in the gallery, please rise if you're able. Thank you so much for joining us here today. I had the honor and the pleasure of visiting with you before session, and I'm so grateful for the work that you do every single day to make our Commonwealth better, to expand opportunity for gender and racial equality, to focus on issues that really matter to all of us, but in particular to African American women and young girls, and making sure that they have bright futures in this Commonwealth and in this country. And echo the words of the junior senator from Richmond City about your wonderful and storied history and the work that you continue to do to make us all better. So I would ask everyone here to join me in extending the warm welcome of the Senate to the members of the National Coalition of 100 Black Women. Okay. The senator from Henrico, Senator Donovan.
Thank you, Mr. President. I rise for the purpose of two introductions, if I may.
Senator has the floor.
Thank you so much. I would like to start by thanking Father Daniel Brady. O is his middle initial, but with the Irish, I wanted to do O'Brady. But thanking Father Brady today for the most beautiful prayer and invocation that set our hearts and minds on the right path for our work today. He's at St. Michael, the Archangel Catholic Church in Glen Allen, Virginia, and they just celebrated their 25th anniversary. Father Brady.
Okay, great. Thank you. Father Brady, would you please rise in the gallery? Thank you, first of all, for that really wonderful and beautiful prayer this morning. I think it got our hearts and minds in the right place for today's session. And thank you for your leadership at St. Michael and throughout this Richmond area, but also in the Commonwealth of Virginia. We're grateful for your moral leadership and want to extend the warm welcome of the Senate to Reverend Brady. Senator from Henrico has the floor.
Thank you, Mr. President. In the gallery with us today, too, are representatives of the Virginia Pharmacists Association. These caregivers, I don't even know how to express all that they do, are such an integral part of our healthcare system. They educate patients, they dispense drugs, they vaccinate, they help prevent the flu, for instance, which we're suffering a terrible flu season. So I want just to take notice that they're here with us today and what an important part they are of a healthcare system.
I thank the senator. Would the members of the Virginia Pharmacists Association in the gallery please rise if you're able? Thank you all so much. It's a large and powerful group. We are grateful that you've joined us here today in the Senate. Really want to echo the words of the senator from Henrico about how important it is, the work that you do and the profession that you practice. I actually have a personal, deep connection to your great profession. My mother is a pharmacist, And so I've gotten to see up close and personal how important that work is. So thank you for the patients that you treat, for the education that you provide in healthcare in our communities, the lives that you frankly save and enhance and make better every single day. So we wish you all the best. We're here to support you in your work. And I would ask everyone please to join me in extending the warm welcome of the Senate to the members of the Virginia Pharmacists Association. The senator from Prince William County, Senator McPike.
Mr. President, I rise for the purpose of an introduction.
The senator has the floor.
Thank you, Mr. President. Ladies and gentlemen of the Senate, joining us today in the gallery are students from George Mason University. Their names are Jeremy Aylward, Ali Kromich, Joseph Fernando, and Katie Lively. She serves as the Speaker of the Student Senate, a body which I served in a little over 20 years ago. They're joined by some of the great staff at George Mason today. Mason is the largest public university in Virginia with more than 36,000 students. Just amazing. U.S. News and World Report ranks Mason at number 140, one of the top universities in the country, and also in 2016, Mason was recognized as a Carnegie Tier 1 research university, one of only 115 universities with such designation, and one of only a handful without a medical school. These students are in Richmond today for Mason Lobbyist Day to advocate for higher education and Mason student priorities at the state level. They've spent the morning in discussion with their legislators and observing their state government in action. And on behalf of myself, as well as other Mason's alums here, the senior senator from Richmond, Senator Sturtevant, and the senator from Spotsylvania, Senator Reeves, I ask that we all join in a big Go Patriots and welcoming them to the Senate here today. Thank you.
I thank the senator. Would the students and staff from George Mason University in the gallery please rise if you're able? Thank you all so much for joining us today. We see the green and gold proudly displayed around your shoulders, and thank you for representing your great university so well. I also do want to point out the senator from Prince William County also, if you look at his tie, is representing George Mason University today, along with Senator Reeves and Senator Sturtevant, wonderful representatives of what's possible when you get a world-class education at a place like George Mason University. So we want to thank you for your leadership. Thank you for being here today to advocate for higher education access. It's so important, and your futures are incredibly bright, and we look forward to all the wonderful things you will continue to do. So I'd ask everyone to please join me in extending the warm welcome of the Senate to the students and staff of George Mason University. The senator from Northern Chesapeake, Senator Spruill.
Thank you, Mr. President. Good morning to you. Good evening.
Good morning, Senator. Good to see you.
Mr. President, in the gallery today is the grandmother of one of our Senate page, Mrs. Rebecca Adams, and her guest, Shelby Elliott. Ms. Adams is a former member of the Chesapeake City Council school system, as well as a retired principal of Great Bridge Intermediate School. Ms. Adams has dedicated her life to public service, doing parts of numerous community service projects. In 2016, she was named Chesapeake First Citizen by the Realtor Club. Today, however, she is here as a grandmother to Delaney Adams, who followed in her father's footsteps as a page for the Senate. On behalf of Senator John Cosgrove and myself, please welcome them.
I thank the senator. Would Rebecca Adams and Shelby Elliott please rise in the gallery? Thank you all so much for joining us today. We are grateful for your leadership over many years, both in civic life and in our educational system. And I know you're here today, in particular, as a proud grandmother of Delaney, who is doing a wonderful job. We're very, very proud of the work that she has done as a page, following in her father's footsteps. So thank your whole family for their commitment to public service and making Virginia a much better place. So I would echo the words of the senator from Northern Chesapeake and the senior senator from Chesapeake, Senator Cosgrove. We are all grateful to you. You are welcome here anytime. And I would ask everyone to please join me in extending the warm welcome of the Senate, both to Rebecca Adams and to Shelby Elliott. The senator from Lynchburg, Senator Peake.
Mr. President, I rise for the purposes of an introduction.
The senator has the floor.
Thank you, Mr. President. And on behalf of the senior senator from Bedford, Senator Newman, I am honored to introduce several guests that we have here today, Mr. President. Mr. President, we have the privilege of being visited by Lynchburg City Council members who are tireless, selfless, and unyielding in their dedication to the fine citizens of Lynchburg, and I appreciate very much them being here today. I would like to introduce them. We have today visiting us City Council members Mary Jane Dolan and Sterling Wilder, our Vice Mayor, Ms. Trenae Tweedy, and our Mayor, Madam Joan Foster. I ask the body to give them the warm welcome of the Senate.
I thank the senator. Would the members of the Lynchburg City Council please rise in the gallery if you're able? Thank you all so much for joining us here today. It's a distinguished group of people and public servants. We are so grateful for all that you do for not only Lynchburg, but for the entire Commonwealth of Virginia and the high standards that you set for public service. And so really want to echo the words of Senator Peake and Senator Newman, I know, shares in those sentiments. We look forward to continued great work on your behalf and making Lynchburg an even better place to live, work, and raise a family. So I would ask everyone here to please join me in extending the warm welcome of the Senate to our distinguished leaders from the Lynchburg City Council. The senator from Fauquier, Senator Vogel.
Thank you, Mr. President. I rise for purposes of an introduction.
The senator has the floor.
Thank you, Mr. President. And members of the body, I would like to direct your attention in the gallery to members of the Virginia Retired Teachers Association who are here this morning. The VRTA is an organization of almost 7,000 retired teachers and non-professional school personnel. These retirees live their motto, to serve, not be served. In the last 5 years, the 83 units across the state have contributed a total of $567,000 in scholarships to graduating high school seniors. In addition, since 2012, they have documented 1 million hours in voluntary services to the community and with youth. This converts to a total dollar amount of $23 million. The hours reported here represent a small fraction of what Virginia's retired teachers actually contribute across the state in the areas of health and community organizations. Their work with youth include 5 key elements, including ongoing relationships with caring adults, healthy starts in life, safe places to learn and grow, marketable skills through effective education, and opportunities to give back through community service. In 1996, the General Assembly passed a resolution recognizing today, January 31st, as Retired Teachers Day in Virginia. And there are a number of retired teachers visiting the Capitol in celebration of this day, both in the House and on the Senate side. In the gallery on our side today, we have Ben McCartney, who is a good friend of mine and whose daughter, Erin Burrows, works in my firm and without whom we could not survive. We also have Nina McClanahan, who's with us today, and Roger McClanahan. We have Jeannie Trabusely, sorry, I apologize, and Bonnie Atwood, who are all with us here in the gallery today, and I would love it if you would extend to them the warm welcome of the Senate.
Thank the senator. Would the members of the Virginia Retired Teacher Association in the gallery please rise if you're able? Thank you all so much for joining us here today. We know that you have colleagues who are also on the House side, and we give them our greetings as well. We absolutely echo the words, eloquent words of Senator Vogel, and thank you for the leadership that you provide to make a better education possible for all of our children and improve the lives of our families all throughout the Commonwealth of Virginia. And I think it's notable that after careers and years of service that you gave every single day, even in retirement, you still continue to lead by example and to give of yourself selflessly, and that really is the highest calling that we can have anywhere in life. And so we thank you for joining us today, are inspired by your work, and would ask everyone please to join me in extending the warm welcome of the Senate to the members of the Virginia Retired Teachers Association. The junior senator from Loudoun County, Senator Wexton.
Thank you, Mr. President. I rise for 2 introductions.
The senator has the floor.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, members of the body, I have the great honor to represent two of the Commonwealth's three largest or most populous towns. Although I love both of my towns equally, and they both have sent delegations here today, I'll just go in alphabetical order. So joining us in the gallery is a group from the Town Council of Herndon. We are joined by Mayor Lisa Merkel, Vice Mayor Jennifer Baker, Town Council members Bill McKenna, Signe Friedrichs, Sheila Olam, Town Attorney Lisa Yates, and Town Manager Bill Ashton. Mr. President, if you would please join me in giving them the warm welcome of the Senate.
I thank the Senator. Would the delegation from the Town Council of Herndon please rise in the gallery if you're able? Thank you all so much for being here today. I see all these familiar and distinguished faces of wonderful public servants who have served the town of Herndon and really the Commonwealth of Virginia with such distinction. And we are so grateful to you for your leadership, for your integrity, your enthusiasm. Anyone who's ever been to Herndon knows that it's a special place, and you all make it an exciting place to live, but also one that's really welcoming and warm, and a place that people want to raise their families, start a small business, and really achieve the American dream. So thank you for being with us here, Madam Mayor, our Vice Mayor, our council members, our City Attorney and Manager. Thank you for your distinguished leadership, and I would ask everyone to please join me in extending the warm welcome of the Senate to our representatives from the Herndon Town Council. Junior Senator from Loudoun, Senator Wexton.
Mr. President, also joining us in the gallery is a group from the Town Council of Leesburg. Leesburg happens to be my hometown. We are joined by Mayor Kelly Burke, Council Member Ron Campbell, Town Attorney Barbara Notar, Deputy Town Manager Keith Markle, no relation to Mayor Merkel, by the way, and their Public Information Officer Betsy Arnett. If we would kindly give them the warm welcome of the Senate.
I thank the Senator, and would our representatives, distinguished representatives from the Town Council of Leesburg, please rise in the gallery if you're able. Thank you all so much for being here. And again, some really wonderful and distinguished faces here in the gallery. We thank you for your leadership. Leesburg is a special place as well, and all you need to do is visit for a day to realize both its history and the gravity of it, but also its future. And it's really bright because of the work that you all have done for many, many years. I would love to thank the mayor for her leadership. Thank our city council members, the city attorney, the deputy manager, public information officer. You all continue to make Leesburg a special place and a place people want to locate and live. So I would ask everyone please to join me in extending the warm welcome of the Senate to the distinguished delegation from the Town Council of Leesburg. The Senator from King George, Senator Stewart.
Thank you, Mr. President. I rise for an introduction.
The Senator has the floor.
Mr. President, I'm very pleased to inform the members of the body of the presence in the gallery of some more local government officials who are also friends of mine, and they're from one of my favorite little cities in the Commonwealth, and that's the city of Fredericksburg. And, Mr. President, we have with us the Mayor Catherine Greenlaw. They're up there somewhere, I think. The Vice Mayor, Billy Withers. He's listed here as William, but we call him Billy. And the City Attorney, Kathleen Dooley, who I will tell the body, Kathleen has served and chaired a subcommittee on the FOIA Council for as long as I can remember, and she does that as a volunteer, and we really appreciate her help on that. So all of these folks have worked really hard and been really integral to the success of the city of Fredericksburg, and it's a wonderful place. If you haven't been there, I encourage you to come see it because there's a lot to see. So I'd ask you to give them the warm welcome of the Senate.
I thank the Senator. Would the delegation from the city of Fredericksburg with us in the gallery please rise if you're able? I want to thank the mayor, the vice mayor, the city attorney for your leadership. Also, Fredericksburg is a very special place, and Senator Stewart and I have talked about this. We share some roots in the area. My family actually originates from King George County and Fredericksburg, Dahlgren, Colonial Beach, and it's a special place. And anyone who visits Fredericksburg loves to come back because it, too, has a wonderful history and a bustling future. It's growing every time you go there. There's something new happening and developing. But thank you all for your stewardship, your leadership, and for setting a very high standard in public service. And so I would ask everyone, please, to join us in extending the warm welcome of the Senate to our distinguished delegation from the city of Fredericksburg. The junior senator from Virginia Beach, Senator D. Steph.
Good afternoon, Mr. President. How are you doing today? I rise for the purpose of an announcement.
The senator has the floor.
In the gallery are members of the Moorish Science Temple of America. Honors to Noble Drew Ally. The members are big supporters of Senate Bill 238 that was passed out of this body yesterday. Back to you, Mr. President.
I thank the senator. Would the members of the Moorish Science Temple of America with us in the gallery please rise if you're able? Thank you so much for joining us here today. Thank you for your advocacy. It is so important that we have our citizens be involved in the process and express their views on legislation here, but also thank you for your leadership here in the Commonwealth of Virginia for making us a better place and creating more opportunity for more people all around the Commonwealth of Virginia. So we are honored to have you here in the gallery with us. You are welcome back anytime. And I would ask everyone, please, to join me in extending the warm welcome of the Senate to all of the members of the Moorish Science Temple of America. The senator from Franklin, Senator Stanley.
Good afternoon, Mr. President.
Good afternoon, Senator.
Rise for the purpose of an introduction.
The senator has the floor.
Thank you very much. Mr. President, members of the Senate, in the gallery today we have some very great friends of mine who do great work in the city of Martinsville for a great institution, New College Institute. I want to first thank all that came out to our reception that we had at Sam Miller's last night. If you do recall, I said I was buying, and it turned out it was a cash bar. So for all senators who, if you still have your receipts, if you'll just bring them over here, I will take care of those with a voucher. But we had a great time and talking with the legislators who came by. We had a really big crowd, Mr. President. It was a really nice event, and it's great where we can tell people about the New College Institute down in Martinsville and all the great things we're doing and the new directions we're heading in. And I want to recognize in the gallery today, if I may, Mr. President, our executive director, Dr. Leanna Blevins. With her, we have our executive assistant, Melanie Ingram. We have our Deputy Executive Director, Melanie Stowe. We have board members who are really just the backbone to the school that do so much and are so forward-thinking in what we're doing and how we're going to get it accomplished. I'm proud to serve with them on the board along with Senator Hanger. We have Bob Berger, who's a board member, Tanya Foreman, who's a board member, Naomi Hodge-Muse, who's a board member, and getting her second introduction today, and she deserves it because she was introduced by the senator with regard to the Lynchburg Council, Trenae Tweedy. So if you would, Mr. President, please extend to them the warm welcome of the Senate. And I will remind you, Mr. President, that I bought all of their drinks. Thank you.
I thank the senator. Would the members for the New College Institute in the gallery with us please rise if you're able? We want to thank you all, Dr. Blevins and the board, the staff, the students, Vice Mayor. Thank you for your leadership of a great institution. And Senator Stanley said it eloquently, talked about the work that you have done to expand opportunity for so many people in Martinsville and around the Commonwealth of Virginia. We are so grateful for your dedication, for your vision. And please know that we are encouraging you and supporting you and look forward to really wonderful things to come in the years ahead. So thank you so much for joining us. You are welcome back anytime. And also on behalf of Senator Hanger, who I know shares those same sentiments, we want to extend the warm welcome of the Senate to all the members of the New College Institute.
And, Mr. President, there was Dr. Weldon Hill there in that as well. He's bigger than me, so I do not want to forget him. So he's there as well.
Warm welcome to Dr. Weldon Hill as well. Make sure that we give him a round of applause. Do any other senators wish to be recognized for purposes of introduction? Is there any other business to come for the morning hour? Seeing none, the clerk will call the calendar.
Mr. President.
Senator from James City County, Senator Norman.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. I respectfully ask that we stand in recess, until 12:50 And upon the recess, if the Senate Republican caucus would retire to the prayer room very promptly, I would be most appreciative.
Question is, shall the Senate stand in recess until, it's 12:45, Senator? Oh, Senator Locke would like to be heard. Senator from Hampton, Senator Locke.
And Mr. President, upon recess, if the Senate Democrats could meet in the back.
Thank the Senator. The question is, shall the Senate stand in recess until 12:50 this afternoon? All in favor will say aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The Senate stands in recess until 12:50. Will come to order. The clerk will call the calendar.
Senate calendar for Wednesday, January 31st, 2018. Uncontested calendar, Senate bills on third reading.
Senator from James City County, Senator Norman.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move all the Senate bills on the third reading on pages 1 through 5, which would include Senate Bill 417 through Senate Bill 920, be placed on their final passage in the block. Any senator who may desire to remove a bill from the block, please do so after the clerk has read the number of that bill.
I thank the senator. The question is, shall the Senate bills on the uncontested calendar, third reading, pages 1 through 5, Senate Bill 417 through Senate Bill 920, be placed upon their final passage in the block, with the understanding that any senator desiring a bill be removed from the block will do so after the clerk has read the number of the bill. All in favor of the motion will say aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The motion is agreed to. The bills are before us in the block. The clerk will read the number of the bills.
Senate Bill 417.
Mr. President.
Senator from Southern Fairfax, Senator Barker.
Must have been the echoes. I move that the bill come out of the block and by for the day.
And was that Senate Bill 417? Thank the senator. Without objection, Senate Bill 417 will come out of the block and go by for the day.
Senate Bill 544.
Mr. President.
Senator from Rockingham, Senator Obenshain.
I hope we're not starting a trend, but I'd ask that this come out of the block and by for the day.
Thank the senator. Senate Bill 544, without objection, will come out of the block and go by for the day.
Senate Bill 877. Senate Bill 506.
Mr. President.
Senator from Bath, Senator Deeds.
I'd ask that Senate Bill 506 come out of the block.
Thank the senator. Without objection, Senate Bill 506 will come out of the block.
Senate Bill 582. Senate Bill 588.
Mr. President.
Senator from Grayson, Senator Carrico.
Ask Senate Bill 588 to come out of the block.
Without objection, Senate Bill 588 will come out of the block.
Senate Bill 695. Senate Bill 769. Senate Bill 859. Senate Bill 920.
The question is, shall the bills in the block pass? That is all bills except for Senate Bills 417, 544, 506, and 588. All in favor of the passage of the bills will record their vote aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Do any senators desire to change their vote? Clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 40, noes 0.
Ayes 40, noes 0. The bills in the block pass.
Returning to page 3, Senate Bill 506.
Senator from Grayson, Senator Carrico.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move the bill pass and explaining the bill.
The senator has the floor.
Mr. President, members of the body, this is a bill that was heard in Rehab and Social Services a week or so ago. In my district, there's a church that has had a had programs for young people since 1975. And they have had youth camps, summer camps, fall, winter camps, and they bring troubled kids in and they mentor them, they work with them. The minister was there to speak about the programs that they do, and now they've seen with the increased number of methamphetamine problems, opioid problems, that they need to expand and house these individuals through some type foster care there on the property. He came to me because in 1975, had he housed them overnight, he would already be grandfathered. He could do this without the licensure process. In order to get the individuals that are interested in building this location and housing these individuals, there was a question as to licensing and how long it would take and whether he could be licensed. They want to get started. They have investments made already. And what this bill does with the amendment is gives him until 2021 to get his facility built, get his license through the state, and then he he would have to have that license by 2021 or he would be in violation. There's things in the code currently that he has to go by that would prevent what happened in 1987 from occurring when the licensing process took place. And this amendment would just simply give him the opportunity to get his facility built and to be operational while he is in the process of getting the license. Now, I'll remind you again, had he just housed one or two of these individuals in 1975 when he started, and he's not asking for a dime from the state. He's just wanting to offer a service that is not available in Smith County for those kids. And if he'd have done this in 1975, he wouldn't even be asking for this this extension. So I hope it's a pleasure of the body to pass the bill.
Mr. President.
Thank you, Senator. Senator from Bath, Senator Deeds.
Would the gentleman yield for a couple of questions?
Will the gentleman yield for questions?
I'll yield.
Gentleman yields. Senator has the floor.
Mr. President, I'd say to the gentleman that I don't have the opportunity to serve on the Committee on Rehabilitation and Social Services, but I remember sitting in there a couple of weeks ago, and this bill came up and did not pass. Am I correct?
It didn't have the amendment that only the bill in its original nature was to exempt him totally, not even have to get a license. The bill now has an amendment that gives him a grace period with a sunset of 2021 on it.
Mr. President.
Senator from Bath.
Would the gentleman yield for an additional question?
Gentleman yield.
I will yield.
Gentleman yields.
Do I understand from the gentleman's explanation that there are no children housed on the facility or in any facilities that this gentleman operates presently?
Not under the age of 18. He now houses children that are kicked out of the foster care at 18 and helps them get started. But he doesn't house children that are under the age of 18.
Mr. President, would the gentleman yield? Would the gentleman yield for an additional question?
Yield.
Gentleman yield. Senator?
Mr. President, I'd ask the gentleman, under the terms of this bill as rewritten and with these enactment clauses, is it my understanding that he will not house children under the age of 18 until he's licensed, and he has to be licensed by July 1, 2021?
I think, Mr. President and members of the body, that if he were miraculously able to get this facility built, which he's in the process, he's already contacted the agency to get them to working with him to get the license. If his facility is built within a year, he will have his license and it'll be a moot point. But if he doesn't have that license, he could house them until 2021.
Okay, I thank the gentleman.
Thank you, Senator. Any other senators wish to be heard on Senate Bill 506? Seeing none, the question is, shall Senate Bill 506 pass? All those in favor of the motion will record their vote aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Do any senators desire to change their vote? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 36, noes 4.
Ayes 36, noes 4. Senate Bill 506 passes.
On page 4, Senate Bill 588.
Senator from Alexandria, Senator Eben.
Thank you, Mr. President. Senate Bill 588 provides a small change to the annual ABC special events license for museums. Right now, if you're a not-for-profit, you don't need you can get one license and not have to get special events license for every occasion. However, if you're owned by a municipality, you do have to get a license each time. And we know in my locality that there were more than 50 individual special event licenses that were required last year for events held in city-owned history museums, and that when they have these events, they always serve food with the alcohol. And the bill is very narrow in that it's not only for city-owned museums, but city-owned museums that have historic, with the amendments, they have to have special events conducted on the premises that is owned and occupied by the operated by the locality, but for historic interpretation. So this would allow places like Gadsby's Tavern, where George Washington attended, and Thomas Jefferson as well, to host one of their History by the Glass series without having to get separate licenses. So with that, I would ask the body pass the bill.
Thank the senator. Do any other senators wish to be heard on Senate Bill 588? Seeing none, the question is, shall Senate Bill 588 pass? All those in favor of the motion will record their vote aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Do any senators desire to change their vote? Clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 37, noes 3.
Ayes 37, noes 3. Senate Bill 588 passes.
Regular calendar Senate bills on third reading. Senate Bill 520, a bill relating to non-agricultural irrigation wells prohibited outside superficial aquifer.
The senator from Williamsburg, Senator Mason.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move the Senate Bill 520 pass. And speaking to the motion,
Senator has the floor.
Mr. President, members of the body, so this is an attempt in the Eastern Virginia groundwater management area to try to stop the confined aquifers from continuing to denigrate. In 2014, a report prepared by the Department of Environmental Quality found that they were concerned about the declining aquifer levels in the coastal plain and the possibility that the current and likely future withdrawals from these aquifers could not be sustained. In fact, they noted that some had declined as much as 200 feet in the past decades. One, since in 1950, was 140 feet above sea level, and today is more than 100 feet below sea level. So the rainwater does not adequately recharge these deep aquifers. So this bill is an effort to take non-agricultural, so residential only. If you're going to build if you have a 2-acre lot and you want to drop a well, this is an attempt to have you drop your well in the superficial aquifer closest to the ground that rainwater replenishes more easily. Between 2003 and 2016, we averaged about 415 wells a year being built, and up to 40% of the wells that are in the confined aquifers are unregulated, so these smaller wells. I will note, Mr. President, members of the body, that you'll see on line 38 the Department of this will only be if DEQ has determined that the quantity or quality of the groundwater in the superficial aquifer is not adequate. So they will work with you to make sure that what you're trying to accomplish, the superficial, is adequate. I will note golf courses dislike this, because a lot of them are 300 feet down below in the main aquifers, but they are grandfathered if they have the wells in the ground. So it would be only if they go new wells that DEQ would work with them to determine, does a superficial aquifer suffice, if you will. Now, Mr. President, members of the body, if you live west of 95, I ask you to vote yes, absolutely, in that this does not impact you at all. This is only east of 95, new wells, the Eastern Virginia groundwater aquifer. So with that explanation, Mr. President, I move that we pass the bill.
Thank the senator. For what purpose does the senator from King George, Senator Stewart, rise?
Mr. President, I rise to speak to the bill.
Senator has the floor.
Mr. President, I do thank the gentleman from Williamsburg for bringing this issue to the body because it's an important one. And what he said is correct. That report by DEQ came out. A lot of us have looked at that. A lot of us have worked on this issue for a long time, and it's frankly very concerning. But here's the problem. We got 2 paper mills sucking water from the Eastern Virginia groundwater management area, and they're sucking about 50% of all the water that's being withdrawn. Now, this is pristine drinking quality water that we all depend on, and there are millions of people in the groundwater management area that depend on this water. So I understand why the gentleman's bringing the bill that he's bringing, but I'm hard-pressed to understand why we would put restrictions on homeowners, and this isn't about golf courses. The golf courses aren't affected because they're grandfathered in. This is restricting a homeowner from the ability to irrigate their grass or their flower garden or whatever it is. And it's not a good idea to use that well water for irrigation, but some people have no choice. They don't have a pond or something. So this, if the gentleman's bill passes, this is what they'd have to do. If you got a little flower garden or something, you can't use the water from your well anymore. You got to go dig a new well. And I don't know how many of you all know what a shallow well is, but that's what a superficial aquifer is. It's called a shallow well. And I come from a poor rural area where a lot of people had shallow wells, and they go dry in the summer. And they don't have much water in them to start with. So you got to spend $10,000 or $15,000 to dig this shallow well. And because it doesn't have much water in it to start with, and the water table is poor, you then have to build a storage tank to hold the water in. So you've either got to gravity pressure it out, or you got to pump it out to irrigate your flowers. Why in the world would we put this restriction on homeowners in the Eastern Virginia groundwater management area when we're afraid to deal with the real problem? And the real problem, the two paper mills. They have other abilities to draw water, not from this aquifer. That report indicated that if we don't do anything but some simple measures like the gentleman is talking about, we can stay level. The head of that aquifer can stay level, and I don't know, we'll be okay until 2025. That means if nobody digs another well and no business comes into the area, it's ridiculous. And we've got to deal with the real issue and not these sort of little Band-Aids. It's offensive to me. It's offensive to me that we would put a restriction like this on a homeowner when we won't stand up and deal with the real problems, and that's the withdrawals by the two paper mills that are sucking this aquifer dry. I hope that we'll send a message and vote no on this bill.
Thank the senator. For what purpose does the senator from Roanoke City, Senator Edwards, rise?
Mr. President, I was not on the committee, of course, and only recently learned about this bill. But I would urge the body to vote for the bill. I agree with the senator from King George. It doesn't go far enough. But we're not going to have a bill that goes that far, apparently. This is the best we can do. I want to tell you a little bit about what I know, which is not a whole lot, with regard to aquifers. There's confined water, which is way, way deep in the ground. I don't know how far, but way deep. That's not groundwater. This confined water has been there for eons and eons and eons. It's pristine pure. If we start tapping that, as apparently has already happened to some extent, we're going to eventually pollute this pure, pristine water that's deep, deep down in the earth. Confined water. It's been there for eons. And the groundwater is basically rainwater. And we should make sure we preserve, to the extent we could possibly do for the future, this pristine water that's deep, deep in the earth, called confined water, that's been there for eons and eons, and it's pristine pure. And we need to maintain that for the future. Thank you, Mr. President. I hope the body votes yes on this bill.
Thank the senator. Do any other senators wish to be heard on Senate Bill 520?
Mr. President,
Senator from Williamsburg.
Mr. President, members of the body, if all members have spoken, I did neglect to add one thing. The gentleman's exactly right. The big users are the issue. And at the end of last year, the Department of Environmental Quality met with the 14 biggest users and reduced consumption by upwards of 69 million gallons a day, which is like 52% reduction. And so the gentleman's right. That is the dominant use. And that may need more continued work. But this is a case of every little bit counts. So I mean no offense to the gentleman from King George, and I was looking after the residential folks. But at the same time, if we can work with them and make sure that the official does what they need for their flower gardens, this will be an additional step. And so, Mr. President, members of the body, it's another step in the overall process. And I don't disagree with the gentleman that we've got more work to do with the larger users. But again, I urge you pass the bill.
Thank the senator. For what purpose does the senator from King George, Senator Stewart, rise?
Mr. President, if no one else wishes to speak, I'd like to speak again just to correct some information.
Senator has the floor.
Mr. President, again, I have the greatest respect from the senator from Williamsburg and what he's trying to do. But this is a misguided effort at it. And let me explain to you what he means when he says they reduced it by 69 million gallons a day. In actuality, these paper mills were not using that amount. They were permitted to withdraw up to an additional 69 million gallons a day. They had no capacity to do it, but they could in the future. So the great negotiation to try to protect our aquifer was they gave that ability back. They said, okay, if you don't take anything away from what we're withdrawing now, we won't keep that extra capacity that we could need in the future. So technically the gentleman is correct, but not really. Mr. President, this is a really important issue. And again, I applaud what he's trying to do, but we have got to deal with the real problem. We've got to deal with these large industrial users, and I don't want to injure them, but they have other methods to withdraw water for the purposes of cooling equipment. This is drinking water. This is the drinking water that millions of people depend on and millions of businesses in Virginia depend on, quite frankly. We've got to protect this, and you don't do it by putting a stupid regulation on a homeowner. And that's what this amounts to. I hope we'll vote no.
Thank the senator. Do any other senators wish to be heard on Senate Bill 520? Seeing none, the question is, shall Senate Bill 520 pass? All those in favor of the motion will record their vote aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Do any senators desire to change their vote? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 18, noes 22.
Ayes 18, noes 22. Senate Bill 520 fails.
Senate Bill 576, a bill relating to stream restoration standards and specifications.
The senator from Augusta, Senator Hanger.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that Senate Bill 576 pass, and I'd like to speak to that motion.
Senator has the floor.
Thank you, Mr. President, members of the Senate. Senate Bill 576 deals with stream restoration projects, and what this would do, the simple explanation, it would allow the same alternative review and approval process when you're restoring a stream project for the purpose of reducing nutrients and sediment entering the same waters. It would allow the same process that we currently allow for approval of plans when you're submitting plans for soil erosion control and stormwater management plans when that activity impacts more than one jurisdiction. I hope to be the pleasure of the Senate to pass the bill.
Thank the senator. Do any other senators wish to be heard on Senate Bill 576? Seeing none, the question is, shall Senate Bill 576 pass? All those in favor of the motion will record their vote aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Do any senators desire to change their vote? Clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 39, noes 0, Rule 36-1.
Ayes 39, noes 0, Rule 36-1. Senate Bill 576 passes.
Senate Bill 698, a bill relating to erosion and sediment control, inspections, natural gas pipelines, stop work instructions, emergency.
The senator from Bath, Senator Dees.
Mr. President, I'd respectfully request that this bill and the next bill go by for the day.
Without objection, Senate Bill 698 and Senate Bill 699 will go by for the day.
Senate Bill 854, a bill relating to renewal of nursery stock licenses, late fee.
Senator from Western Fairfax, Senator Marsden.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that the bill pass. And speaking to the measure.
Senator has the floor.
Thank you, Mr. President. This bill comes to us from the friendly folks at VDACS, the Virginia Department of Agriculture and Consumer Services, and they need some help. Here's the problem. We have 2,570 nurserymen and nursery stock dealers, and every year they're supposed to renew their licenses on December 31st. And under existing law, if they don't do that and continue to practice the nursery business, it's a Class 1 misdemeanor. So VDAX has a solution for a significant number of these folks who are not paying on time, and they have to put in a lot of effort over the year, and they don't collect from a lot of them until July and August. And they don't want to hit people with misdemeanors. So they've come up with a plan to offer a grace period from January 1 through the end of January for them to pay. Well, they'll send out a reminder, and it'll be a $15 fee for the nursery stock dealers and a $50 extra fee for the nurserymen if they don't pay the fee. But they don't want to charge people with misdemeanors. That's the remedy under existing law. This is a way of just getting them to pay, and it's important that they do that because the money is used to pay for the inspections that keep pests and disease out of the plants we all go to buy in the spring to put in our gardens. It's an important bill for VDAX for their time and the trouble that they're going through, and also to get people legal and keep them out of legal difficulty. So I urge again that the bill pass.
Thank the senator. Do any other senators wish to be heard on Senate Bill 854? Seeing none, the question is, shall Senate Bill 854 pass? All those in favor of the motion will record their vote aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Do any senators desire to change their vote? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 21, noes 19.
Ayes 21, noes 19. Senate Bill 854 passes.
Uncontested calendar, Senate bills on second reading.
Senator from James City County, Senator Norman.
Thank you, Mr. President. I would now move all the Senate bills on the second reading on the uncontested calendar, which would include all bills on pages 8 through 9, including Senate Bill 186 through Senate Bill 846, be engrossed and advanced to the third reading in the block after the adoption of any amendments. Any senator who may desire to remove a bill from the block should please do so after the clerk has read the number of that bill.
Thank the senator. The question is, shall all Senate bills on second reading on the uncontested calendar on pages 8 through 9, Senate Bill 186 through Senate Bill 846, be engrossed and advanced to the third reading in the block after the adoption of the amendments thereto, and that any senator desiring to remove a bill from the block do so after the clerk has read the number of the bill. All in favor of the motion will say aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The motion is agreed to.
Senate Bill 186, reported from the Committee for Courts of Justice. Senate Bill 278, reported from the Committee for Courts of Justice with a substitute.
Senator from Fairfax City, Senator Peterson.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move the committee substitute.
Question is, shall the committee substitute be agreed to? All those in favor of the motion will say aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The committee substitute is agreed to.
Senate Bill 422, reported from the Committee for Courts of Justice with a substitute.
The senator from Russell, Senator Chafin.
Mr. President, I move the committee substitute.
The question is, shall the substitute be agreed to? All in favor of the motion will say aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The committee substitute is agreed to.
Senate Bill 457, reported from the Committee for Courts of Justice. Senate Bill 783, reported from the Committee for Courts of Justice. Senate Bill 846, reported from the Committee for Courts of Justice.
Question is, shall the Senate bills be engrossed and advanced to their third reading? All in favor of the motion will say aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The bills are engrossed and advanced to their third reading.
Regular calendar, Senate bills on second reading. Senate Bill 153, a bill relating to elections, former ballot, order of independent candidates. Reported from the Committee on Privileges and Elections, which we adopted, and there are 2 floor amendments.
The senator from Eastern Fairfax, Senator Servell.
Thank you, Mr. President. Having voted on the prevailing side by which we adopted the committee amendments, I'd move that we reconsider those amendments.
The question is, shall the vote by which the committee amendments were adopted be reconsidered? All in favor of the motion will record their votes aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Do any senators desire to change their vote? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 39, noes 0.
Ayes 39, no 0. The motion is agreed to. The senator from Eastern Fairfax, Senator Servell.
Thank you, Mr. President. With the recommendation that the body reject the committee amendments, I would move that we adopt the committee amendments.
With the recommendation that the committee amendments be rejected, the question is, shall the amendments be agreed to? All in favor of the motion will say aye. Those opposed, no.
No.
The noes have it. The amendments are rejected. The senator from Eastern Fairfax, Senator Surville.
Mr. President, I would request that I withdraw, or I move I withdraw floor amendments 1 through 3.
Without objection, floor amendments 1 through 3 are withdrawn. Senator from Eastern Fairfax, Senator Surville.
Mr. President, I move that we waive the reading of amendments 4 and 5.
Question is, shall the reading of the floor amendments 4 and 5 be waived? All in favor of the motion will say aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The reading of the floor amendments is waived. Senator from Eastern Fairfax, Senator Surville.
Mr. President, I move that we adopt floor amendments 4 and 5 and speaking to that motion.
Senator has the floor.
Thank you, Mr. President. Ladies and gentlemen, you remember this bill. This bill is, we've dealt with this now for the last, 3 sessions. With independent candidates, before we changed the law about 2 years ago, they used to be listed alphabetically. And so if you have a name at the end of the alphabet, that puts you at a substantial disadvantage because there's studies that show that people actually vote. If you're at the end of the ballot, people don't vote for you. So we created a process by which independent candidates would have to file their papers to get order on the ballot. The registrars, I guess, were uncomfortable with the law we passed over the last 2 years and came and proposed some changes. The bill that came out of P&E said that to get first on the ballot, whoever files their statement of candidate qualification is first. That document takes about 2 minutes to fill out, and it's really easy. And I thought that a better way to do it would be the first person to file their petition signatures should be the one who gets first, not just some 2-page form you can fill out really quick. I think a candidate would have to exert some effort and show they're a real candidate before they get listed. So what the bill does is just basically says whoever files their petition signatures first goes first on the ballot if they're an independent candidate. And having said that, I would hope we would adopt the amendment.
Thank the Senator. The question is, shall the floor amendments be adopted? All those in favor of the motion will say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The floor amendments are adopted. The senator from Roanoke City, Senator Edwards.
Mr. President, I move this bill, rules be suspended and the bill be engrossed and advanced to its third reading.
Question is, shall the bill be engrossed and advanced to its third reading? All in favor of the motion will say aye. Aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The bill is engrossed and advanced to its third reading.
Senate Bill 414, a bill relating to the Micro Market Act penalty.
The senator from Hanover, Senator McDougal.
Mr. President, I move the committee substitute.
Question is, and to note, that's Senator from Franklin, Senator Stanley.
That's right.
Question is, shall the substitute be agreed to? All in favor of the motion will say aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The substitute is agreed to. Senator from Franklin, Senator Stanley.
Yes, Mr. President, I now move that Senate Bill 414 be engrossed and advanced to its third reading.
Question is, shall Senate Bill 414 be engrossed and advanced to its third reading? All in favor of the motion shall say aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. Senate Bill 414 is engrossed and advanced to its third reading.
Senate Bill 168, a bill relating to electronic transmission of nude or partially nude images of minors by minors penalty. Reported from the Committee for Courts of Justice with a substitute.
Senator from Franklin, Senator Stanley.
Thank you, Mr. President. I now move the committee substitute be adopted.
Question is, shall the committee substitute be adopted? All in favor of the motion will say aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The committee substitute is adopted. The senator from Franklin, Senator Stanley.
Thank you, Mr. President. I now move that the bill be engrossed and advanced to its third reading.
Question is, shall Senate Bill 168 be engrossed and advanced to its third reading? All in favor of the motion will say aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. Senate Bill 168 is engrossed and advanced to its third reading.
Senate Bill 608, a bill relating to expungement of police and court records plea agreements. Reported from the Committee for Courts of Justice.
Senator from Eastern Fairfax, Senator Surville.
Mr. President, I move the bill be engrossed and passed to its third reading.
Question is, shall the bill be engrossed and advanced to its third reading? All in favor of the motion will say aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. Senate Bill 608 is engrossed and advanced to its third reading.
Uncontested calendar, Senate bills on first reading.
The senator from James City County, Senator Norman.
Thank you, Mr. President. I now move all the Senate bills on the first reading on both the uncontested and regular calendar, which would include all Senate bills on pages 12 through 21, including Senate Bill 248 through Senate Bill 869, that the rules of the Senate be suspended and that the first constitutional reading of the titles be dispensed with.
Thank the senator. The question is, shall the rules be suspended and the first reading of the titles of Senate bills on the uncontested and regular calendars, pages 12 through 21, Senate Bill 248 through Senate Bill 869, be dispensed with? All in favor of the motion will record their votes aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Do any senators desire to change their vote? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 39, noes 0.
Ayes 39, noes 0. The reading of the titles is dispensed with. Senator from James City County, Senator Norman.
Ask that all the bills be passed by for the day, sir.
Thank you, Senator. The question is, shall the Senate bills on the uncontested and regular calendars now on second reading be passed by for the day? All in favor of the motion will say aye. Aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The bills will go by for the day.
Mr. President.
Senator from Eastern Fairfax, Senator Servell.
Having voted on the prevailing side by which we engrossed and passed for second reading Senate Bill 168 on page 11, I move that we reconsider that vote so that a floor amendment can be done tomorrow.
The question is, shall the vote by which Senate Bill 168 was engrossed in advance to its third reading be reconsidered? All in favor of the motion will record their vote aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Do any senators desire to change their vote? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 40, noes 0.
Ayes 40, noes 0. The motion is agreed to. The senator from Eastern Fairfax, Senator Servell.
Mr. President, I ask that Senate Bill 168 go by for the day.
Without objection, Senate Bill 168 will go by for the day. Senator from James City County, Senator Norman.
Mr. President, inquire the clerk. Does that complete today's calendar?
Yes, sir.
Is there any other business to come before the Senate? The senator from Spotsylvania, Senator Reeves.
Thank you, Mr. President. Rise for a quick announcement.
Senator has the floor.
First, let me thank you, Mr. President, for coming to the Veterans Caucus this morning along with the governor. I think we heard some pretty interesting information about where we stand with regard to BRAC and sequestration.
We did. Thank you for your leadership of that caucus and for the invitation.
Thank you, Mr. President. I just wanted to remind the members that tonight is our 6th annual Military Appreciation Night. Mission Barbecue will be there. And for anybody who needed to take a shuttle from Pocahontas, they will be shuttling people over. The challenge you'll have is getting back. You'll have to Uber or Lyft back from that. But the governor and the lieutenant governor will be there, as well as your military commanders from all your garrisons around the Commonwealth. And we look forward to seeing you. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank the senator. Do any other senators wish to be recognized? Is there any other business to come before the Senate? The clerk will report any announcements on the desk.
Today, Wednesday, January 31st, the Committee for Courts of Justice will meet 15 minutes after adjournment, Senate Room A in Pocahontas. The Committee on Transportation will meet 15 minutes after adjournment in Senate Room 3 in the Capitol. The Finance Subcommittee on Transportation will meet at 4 p.m., 5th floor Subcommittee Room Number 1, Pocahontas, Senators Wagner, Saslaw, Newman, Carrico, Barker, and Donovan. The Rural Caucus will meet at 5 p.m., 5th floor Subcommittee Number 2 in Pocahontas. Tomorrow, Thursday, February the 1st, the Committee on Education and Health will meet at 8 a.m., Senate Room A in Pocahontas. The Finance Subcommittee on Capital Outlay and General Government will meet at 8 a.m., 5th floor Subcommittee Room Number 1 in Pocahontas. Senators Norman, Saslaw, Hanger, Lucas, Ruff, Wagner, McDougall, Vogel, Obenshain, and Dance. The Hampton Roads Caucus will meet at 8 a.m., 5th floor Subcommittee Room Number 3 in Pocahontas. The General Laws and Technology Subcommittee Number 2 will meet at 10 a.m., 5th floor Subcommittee Room Number 1 in Pocahontas. Senators Black, Barker, Eben, Reeves, DeSteff, Suderline, and Mason. The Republican Caucus will meet at 11:30 a.m. in Senate Room 2. The Democratic Caucus will meet at 11:30 a.m. in Senate Room 1.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. The senator from Bedford, Senator Newman.
Mr. President, I move that the Senate do now adjourn until 12 noon tomorrow.
Thank the senator. The question is, shall the Senate adjourn until 12 noon tomorrow? All in favor of the motion will say aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The Senate stands adjourned until 12 noon tomorrow.